foliahu, especially with the snowfall, you can see it. You can see her up there with her her bosom covered by snow. Now, one thing that I've noticed working on Mauna Kea for a few years is that the snow, you know that we've been in a drought up here for probably the last 6, 7 years. This year it's been a little different, but that could be just a swing back, but it's been very dry. And so we haven't had as much snow. Now, one of the things that we did last year was we actually did a survey for sandalwood. Anybody know about sandalwood? The history of sandalwood in Hawaii? We're going to talk more about that. We actually have sandalwood on this Pu'u, so we'll talk about it. But with the history of sandalwood, what we noticed was that all the sandalwood that we found were at the base of these gulches. Can anybody think why? What does that mean?
Maybe when they were cutting down the sandalwood, all the bad ones, all the rotten ones were thrown down in the gulch.
Oh, that's, you know, I never thought of that, but that's possible. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? So when water flows, where does water flow to?
The ocean. The ocean.
How does it get there?
Rivers,
and like gulches.
Gulches, right? So what we think is happening is that the sandalwood is being fed by snow melt. So every year when Mauna Kea builds up its snow and then it melts back, right? Because it contracts, it's a heartbeat, right? It's in and out, in and out, in and out. As it contracts and the water moves downhill, it goes in the gulches and it goes straight to these sandalwood forests. What's left of what we have here on Mauna Kea. Yeah. We found a lot. It was really interesting to do the survey because we just found so many in that area. Okay, so we covered Kipuka. We covered Pu'u, right? La'au, you guys know what is la'au? Right? Could be a stick. Could be a fork, could be a tree, right? Kumu la'au. So la'au in this context means native forest. And what about bau la'au? You guys know the bau, yeah? I mean, you guys do the holy, right? Not bau. What is bau la'au? Anybody have any idea? So la'au, what I think la'au is, because la'au is close to bau kanaka, I think that bau la'au is the area that you interact with to get wood. For firewood or whatever. Or canoes or whatever. It's the area that you have I don't know how you put it. It's being, the relationship that you have with the areas you support each other. You know, compared to Wa'akua, which is that's a place that hardly anybody goes. You might go there to get bird feathers, or you might go there for different reasons, or cross through if you're going to get pohaku from Mauna Kea. Okay, so what ahupua'a, last thing, what ahupua'a are we in?
Oh no,
Ahupua'a, yeah, so ahupua'a is a land division, right? Anybody have any idea? Just a guess even. Yes. Huh? Oh, actually, that's pretty close. So we are actually, the ahupua'a that we're in now, if we go to the Mauka side of the ahupua'a, we are in the moku of Hamakua. But we're still in the moku of Hilo. Yeah? So Humu'ula, right? So Humu'ula is the name of this ahupua'a. This ahupua'a goes all the way from Laupahoehoe Point, just north of that, all the way up here, halfway up Mauna Loa. It's huge. And it's the top of all the ahupua'a that are along the coastline. So they come up and then they hit Humu'ula. Last thing. So Humu'ula, what does that mean? Red. And Humu. This is kind of a little bit of a tricky one. In this context, it means red. It means jasper stone. So red jasper stone. What is that? So having that name, what do you think the importance of that ahupua'a is? Or one of them?
To get cinder or something like that.
To get, okay, well think about before we didn't have metal before contact, right? Well, we had like nails from ships, but we didn't have a whole lot of metal. So what would we need? So what would we need, say, to cut down a tree? A koa tree to make a, wow, this.
Ads.
Yes, ko'i. So did you guys know that the rock up here, you think pohaku, but I found in a historical document, I found about 20 names for pohaku, just associated with Mauna Kea. And Humu'ula is one of those pohaku. So every pohaku has a different use, so when you're building a va'a, do you want them all to be the same type of rock? Right? You gotta finish the same thing like if you're doing a chainsaw, you want something big, you know, to cut down the big tree, you want something that can rough it out, you want something that you can do a detail with. So all of the different stones have different names. And what would make Uncle super proud is if a couple of you guys, a couple of you would take that up and learn those pohaku and actually start to practice with it. would be cool. Or even build a Huluhulu. Yeah, make a cloak. You know, I mean, those feathers are like that big. We had one person told me that it took 7 generations to make one Huluhulu for Meme the First.
Wow.
7, so your grandma's grandma started it, right? So that's where we're at today. So a lot of the actions that we do today, maybe we're not going to see the end of it, but it's important that we start for the long term. The 100-year plan, right? All right. You guys have any questions? You guys see any different? You guys tell me about any of the plants around us. So point one out and let's talk about it. What about this one right here? You guys see the one that behind us kind of looks like tobacco?
Yeah.
Native or not native?
Native.
Not native. Yeah. So what is a native? Well, okay, turn around, back around. I gotta go over this real quick. Sorry. So what is a native? What is a native plant?
Something that has been here and like for like its whole.
Yeah. Well, how did it get here?
It was out here.
How? They call them the W's. You guys know the W's in Hawaiian. It's the M's. Well, I'll give you one, Makani, the wind. Right? So the wind can move seeds. Manu, yep. Birds will bring it. Sometimes the seeds stick to them or they eat them and it goes and then it comes out when they get it.
Wave.
Wana, yep. There you go. So those are generally a native species in the context of with these plants is brought here, they call it naturally. So brought here by those W's or the M's. It came here and then there's basically two types of natives. Right? There's indigenous natives, that means that it's found here but also found in other places. And there's endemic natives. Can anybody tell me what an endemic native might be?
When it's like, when it's only found here.
Only found exactly. So like silver sword, for example, Mauna Kea silver sword, only found on Mauna Kea. That's it. Yeah. And so when you're looking at those things, what we're talking about is diversity. And what I know from doing my work is that diversity is strength. I know that because of the work that I do. What about when did humans come here first? Generally, this is what the science thinks. Right? This is one point of view. So the science thinks, when did we get here? So we said 4,000 from when the last flow for Mauna Kea, or last exposure. 10,000? They believe less than that. You can call it AD or BC. So right now we're in, what are we in, 2015? So it's AD. I'll say it is, the science thinks AD, right? Right, after diocese, right? So what do you, give me a number. So after diocese is after, with Christian, yeah, after Christ. So what is, so give me a number, throw a number out.
7,000.
So no, 7,000 years ago, no.
8,000?
No, too far back.
5,000.
Even come back more.
2,000.
Maybe a couple thousand years. So generally the science thinks about 500 AD. So that means that according to the science, humans have been here for about 1,500 years. Yeah? So, and who were the first people that came here? Who are they?
The ancient Hawaiians.
Yes, that's us, right? So all of us have this connection to this place way back then. So that's the Polynesian, they call it the Polynesian introduction when they're talking about plants. What plants were brought here during that time frame? Sweet potato, yep, that's one.
Breadfruit.
Hollow, breadfruit, yep. And those are all the different, yeah, exactly. So during that time, we had about 25 to 35 plants that were introduced. Just the plants, yeah, I'll talk about the animals. And then what happened then after that? Captain Cook came. So we call that, all the plants that came in after that are called introduced. Some of those are considered invasive. So invasive plants, what they do is they change ecosystems. They take away our native forests. And so that's what we are trying to fight against. And of the introduced plants, so like mango, is that considered invasive? Mango trees?
No.
No, it's not. All right? But we do have some trees that are very aggressive. And so we worry about those trees taking over areas. Okay? So it's getting hot. Let's go ahead and move up a little bit. You guys have any questions before we go? So that's basically about the plant history.